got some bets. 24 G.
What's up, everyone? Data Productions here, and we will be giving you a movie breakdown of Uncut Gems today. Let's take a look into the meaning and background of Uncut Gems. The movie starts off in Walo Mine, Ethiopia, where precious gem miners work through pain and despair trying to retrieve these stones. Really hitting on the blood diamond narrative, with a lot of these celebrities and superstars wearing these diamonds and stones that most likely were not extracted in a humane way. After the miners hit big after finding this precious uncut opal, main character Howard Ratner, played by Adam Sandler, would be the purchaser of this opal for his jewelry store in the Diamond District of New York. In my honest opinion, this may have been Adam Sandler's best acting job. I was never really fond of his slapstick comedy, but in this movie, he showed his range in being able to play a serious role but still keeping his patented Sandler silliness. Howard Ratner is a gambling degenerate that has a personal life that exactly matches his gambling ways. Chaotic, with no control even if it's perceived. What I mean by this is that Howard always believes he has the know-how and abilities to know what's going to happen next, control it, and bet everything on that outcome. For example, Howard is married with kids but actively cheats on his wife with his side girlfriend, Julia. Howard thinks his wife will never find out about his affair, so he doubles down on this notion by employing his girlfriend, going to clubs, and paying for the apartment she lives in, even though he isn't good with saving money. I want to dive back into the origins of how the Safdie brothers flesh out the history and background to this storyline. Looking deeper in this movie, you can see the Jewish themes are heavily interwoven into the storyline. The stereotypes of Jews managing money and loving basketball are duly noted. The opal is special because it is mined by black Jews, or Hebrew Israelites, who are the original Jews. Without getting too controversial and political, I don't really agree with how Eagles wide receiver Deshaun Jackson presented the information about black Jews in his Instagram post, but there is a lot of truth to what he was trying to get across. If you look back at history, people of darker skin tone, who are black and brown, are the original Jews, and this is stated in historical text. In regards to Nick Cannon's comments on the matter, I felt like he went too far and was leaning towards the anti-Semitic and racist side of things. But that doesn't mean he didn't bring up some solid points. If you read the book The 13th Tribe, you will learn about the Khazarian Jews from the Caucasus Mountains who are white. When you look at who controls jewelry, banks, media, sports, and entertainment, you come to find out a lot of the top people in these fields are Khazarian Jewish. They are white Jews. The Safdie brothers also noted that their original acting choice for this film was Amari Stoudemire, because he's been open about his Hebrew Israelite heritage.
Say a black Jewish person, and the themes of the movie worked really well with this Ethiopian Jewish tribe finding this black opal and it arriving in New York from them. So you could imagine, and also the New York of it all. Like Amari is like this person, this almost like a gem of its own, came to the city and is resurrecting this dead franchise. So you're writing the movie around this person with this, who has unique motivations and concerns. And then along the way, for financial reasons, people are trying to push you. It's like 2015, you're like, let's go for Kobe. Kobe wants to act. Everyone heard Kobe wanted to act. So I take the time to rewrite the whole script with Kobe Bryant, which is difficult because this movie has to center around real games in the way they actually unfolded. And you have to write the persona of the player, and which is tough. So I have to get into Kobe and what does it mean? Can we find East Coast games that even make sense that he's in New York and would come by a jewelry store? And we ended up centering that version around the 60-point game he did at the Garden.
Okay.
And that was and the gem was kind of a youth elixir, and Howard is kind of a guy past his prime, so it kind of makes sense there as well. Finally, the agency's like, where is it? He wants it. I was like, dude, it takes me time to rewrite this whole script and come up with a whole new set of themes. And then I was like, give me another couple days. So finally, I'm about to send it. They're like, oh, we actually just heard from Kobe's team. He doesn't want to act. He actually wants to direct. It's like, thanks a lot. Fuck you. I actually spent a lot of time writing this.
Jesus.
And then we were like, you know what? Let's not make a period piece. Let's make this contemporary. And we looked at players and we thought who worked with the ideas of the movie, and we landed on Joel Embiid. And Joel was attached for a while, actually. He was attached up until 4 months before production. It was perfect. Everything was kind of syncing up nicely. And the themes of the movie worked really well. You have this gemstone taken from Africa, brought to America, and you have a player, an African player, who can actually see this. We can work with the idea of reclamation, and it worked. And Joel, obviously, he was known for his trolling sense of humor. And the movie, we pushed the comedic themes of the movie. Scott Rudin was constantly pushing us to add jokes anyway. So everything was working, and then the schedule pushed into the season. All of a sudden, we don't have a player anymore because we can't shoot with an active player, and then we have to go back to the drawing board and look at recently retired players, and that's when we saw Kevin Garnett's name on that list.
Kevin Garnett carves out a nice role in Uncut Gems, playing himself during the 2012 Sixers and Celtics playoff series. Kevin stops into Howard's jewelry store looking for some bling. Howard having this opal, he is under the impression that this uncut gem is worth about $1 million. So he sells KG on the opal and allows him to hold on to it as a motivational piece to win games in the playoff series. Howard then goes on this goose chase trying to retrieve the opal back from KG after he holds on to it for too long. But before he gets the opal back, he runs into many problems on the way. Still owing $100,000 in unpaid gambling debt while still trying to keep his family life in order and worrying about if his next bet is going to hit. I want to break down some of the things I noticed in the middle part of the film, what I liked about it, and how it relates to life. At this point in the movie, you are already filled with anxiety because Howard keeps making the wrong decisions, but somehow gets out of the situation relatively unscathed and still alive. He gets put into a trunk of a car, his son almost sees his mistress, and his wife is thinking about separation. We already talked about the role his mistress Julia plays in his chaotic life, but we don't start seeing the product of Howard's decisions in his children till later on. It hit home with me when we find his teenage son starting to gamble on sports, just like his father. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But no matter how crazy Howard is, he doesn't want the same problems with gambling for his son. When I start to dig deeper into the storyline, I start seeing more mystical and spiritual parallels. Kabbalist numbers and teachings are sprinkled throughout the movie. Howard's mistress's apartment is on the 33rd floor. KG was highlighted being 3 for 11 during one scene in the movie. And the more I think about the theme of this movie, it brings me to the occult Freemason teachings and their fraternal motto, order through chaos. Constantly, Howard tries to obtain order through his chaotic decision-making that ultimately fails him. Another example of this would be when he persuaded his father-in-law to compete at the auction with Kevin Garnett to buy the opal. The plan was to get KG to offer the higher bid so Howard could make money off the sale of the opal once he figured out it was only estimated to be worth around $150 to $250K. Obviously, this messy plan failed because as soon as the bid started getting high, Kevin Garnett backed out. So now, Howard owes his father-in-law money on top of his debts, and now KG is mad because he doesn't have the opal. To get to the ending and to wrap a bow on this craziness, we get to the messiest situation of all. Howard finally has the money to pay off his debts by selling the opal to KG at a discounted rate. The thugs that were chasing Howard around all movie show up to the diamond store, but Howard has a gambling problem. He lives on the edge and has to risk it all every time. So he sneaks his girlfriend Julia out of the jewelry store to place all the money he just got on a ridiculous parlay with the Celtics winning. Julia places the bet and the payout will be $1 million plus. By pure stroke of luck, the thugs get stuck in the security lobby door for the whole basketball game while Howard watches in fantastical amazement. At this point in the film, many people are under the impression that if Howard loses this bet, he will be killed. For Howard's sake, KG and the Opal pull off the improbable and cash in on Howard's parlay. In excitement for his winnings, he opens the security door to let the goons out and to tell them they will be getting paid. But the main goon, Phil, had enough of the games and shot Howard square in the head. In a movie where Howard is constantly trying to get ahead of situations, he finally gets the luck he needs. But it came at the price for his life. His last moments were him on top of the world. But to achieve this moment, he strained a lot of relationships in the process. Howard gave us no reason to believe with his newfound winnings he would change his ways. In my opinion, his decisions would have just become more drastic and grandiose. So in a twisted way, maybe Howard getting killed was the best thing for him, ending the chase for more with an unquenchable thirst. Overall, I really liked this movie. The scenes were methodical, characters were fleshed out, and the main actors performed well. I think a silver lining we need to take from this movie is that you will never truly find order or be able to rest in life if your actions are wild and crazy. Order via chaos usually ends in ways people can't imagine, like Howard getting shot in his own store after a big score. What did you think about Uncut Gems? Did you think I had a good breakdown? Did you like the video? If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see other content I produce on this channel, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. I will be doing more of these movie breakdowns in the future. This is Data Productions Media. See you next time.